Thinking that his answer wasn't enough, Inseop added, "I won't do it again." Only then did Wu Yun give him a slight smile. Inseop hesitated, glancing at Wu Yun's hand still inside his pocket. "Yes?" "Your hand." "Oh, right." Wu Yun withdrew his hand from his pocket, still holding Inseop's wrist. "Let's get rid of this." Wu Yun grabbed the can of cola from Inseop's hand and tossed it into a nearby trash bin. The decisiveness of the action gave Inseop an inexplicable chill. His grandmother used to say that people who waste food are bad people. This confirmed to him that Wu Yun was indeed a bad person. "What happened here?" "What? Did you fall?" Wu Yun asked, looking at Inseop's palm. Inseop tried to hide his hand behind his back and replied, trying to sound indifferent, "It's nothing." "It doesn't look like nothing. Where did you fall?" "I fell while coming down from the parking lot." Wu Yun grabbed Inseop by the shoulders and turned him around to inspect his body. "You fell backward." Inseop blushed and brushed off the dust from his pants. It's rare for someone to fall backward unless something was approaching threateningly from the front. Wu Yun recalled the silver Audi he had parked at the corner, waiting for Inseop. "Seriously, what Excuse me." Inseop, who was about to open the car door, looked back, startled. Wu Yun, wearing his usual expression, said, "It's nothing," and got into the car. As Inseop sat in the driver's seat and closed the door, he tilted his head in confusion. He was sure he heard something, but... "Take me to the gym today." "Understood." Inseop put on a CD filled with Wu Yun's favorite songs. The sound of the engine starting was drowned out by the intro of the music. As he turned the steering wheel, Inseop pondered the exact meaning of what he had heard earlier. "Damn mutt. Damn mutt," he repeated to himself. Does it mean a gum chewed by a dog? It must be a bad word since it has a dog in it. With these thoughts swirling in his head, the car slowly rolled out of the parking lot. Returning from his precious break, manager CHA carried 2 packages of herbal medicine. Kim had begged him, claiming this would be the last time, and finally convinced him to manage Wu Yun for just 1 more week. The result was disastrous. Just a few days of dealing with Wu Yun left him feeling utterly drained. As he picked up the medicine, he found himself thinking of Inseop, who was diligently taking care of things. Without realizing it, he asked for an extra package. Other former managers had gone through tough times too, but Inseop weighed heavily on his mind. He had risked his life diving into an icy lake to save Wu Yun, and now he was back to work after being hospitalized. That alone made him feel sorry for Inseop. And on top of that, Inseop was a fan of Wu Yun, a man with a heart as black as night. Watching him sacrifice his sleep and run around made CHA tear up. "I must be getting all teary." CHA wiped his eyes and waited for the elevator. It was Monday, the day Inseop came to the office. Usually, he received and confirmed new schedules by phone or email, but Inseop always came to the office to check Wu Yun's schedule in person. "Hello." "Oh, Inseop. How are you feeling?" "Yes, I'm fine." Although he said he was fine, his face still looked drained. Even in the elevator, Inseop stood silently in the corner, watching the numbers change. When the elevator dinged and the doors opened, CHA noticed the color returning to Inseop's face and felt a pang of bitterness. Despite his kind and gentle nature, Inseop had a tendency to draw boundaries with people. Inside the office, Inseop went around greeting everyone. Even in the midst of his busy schedule, he made sure to bow politely to the cleaning lady. CHA found this behavior strange. "Oh, you finally showed up." Kim, who always made sure to look his best from head to toe, patted him on the shoulder with a smile. "Hello." Recognizing him, Inseop bowed again. "Inseop, come here for a second." Kim called Inseop into his office. CHA followed quietly behind. As Inseop entered, Kim gestured for him to sit on the sofa. Inseop's expression was filled with anxiety. "You always look like a guilty person when I call you. I'm not going to eat you," Kim said, handing him a drink from the fridge. How's Wuyan these days? He's busy. He has continuous interviews, is preparing for shoots, and is training regularly. Today, he has 2 interviews, a movie premiere, and an appearance on an entertainment show. Inseop took out his schedule book and calmly explained Wuyan's agenda. Kim couldn't help but laugh and tilt his head back. Ha ha. I meant how is Wuyan doing in general? You didn't need to give such a detailed answer. What? Oh, I'm sorry. Though he could communicate freely, he still had difficulty understanding implied meanings and reading between the lines. What about tonight? Any plans? Mr. Wuyan plans to go home around 10 p.m. I mean you, Inseop. Oh. I'm going home. Then stop by the office before you go home. Got it? Yes, understood. Kim liked this about Inseop. He accepted orders from his superiors without question. It seemed he believed that was the essence of being a manager. Good job today. Thank you. Inseop left with a relieved expression, which stayed until CHA called him back. Inseop. Yes? Just calling his name made him look terrified, and CHA felt a bit hurt. Here, take this. CHA handed him the herbal medicine he had brought from the health center. What is this? Herbal medicine. You looked a bit weak, so I got it while getting mine. What about me? Kim butted in as always, and CHA showed clear displeasure. He was tempted to tell him off. You can get your own. Have some self-respect. What? Isn't my money good enough? Is my money not money? While the two bickered, Inseop quietly took out his wallet. How much is it? What? How much should I pay you? Inseop checked the cash in his wallet, his face darkening slightly, unsure of how much herbal medicine would cost. If you wait a moment, I can go get more cash. What are you talking about? I don't want your money. It's a gift. What? Take it. I just got it along with mine. Oh. Oh. Inseop bowed his head. He was deeply grateful for CHA's kindness, but he didn't feel he deserved it. I'm fine. I'm healthy. You take it to get even healthier. Just take it. CHA offered the box again. Inseop bowed his head further. No, I'm fine. Just take it. It's customary to accept gifts. Yeah, don't make the giver feel bad. Just take it. With both CHA and Kim urging him, Inseop reluctantly took the box. His face turned red with embarrassment as he thanked them. It's from a good place, so make sure you take it regularly. Take it 30 minutes after a meal. Warm it up if you can. Inseop thanked them again in a small voice, but his expression remained dark. Take it and get strong to take good care of Wuyan. Fighting? Kim said, trying to sound cheerful. Inseop weakly echoed, fighting. He left with the herbal medicine, and CHA shrugged. Did you do something to him? No, why? Then why did he look so down when he took the medicine? You didn't put anything in it on Wuyan's orders, did you? Are you crazy? Do you think I'd do that just because Wuyan told me to? True. I felt sorry for him. He's been busting his ass taking care of Wuyan, looking like he's wasting away, so I got him some herbal medicine. You don't understand because you've never been Wuyan's manager. I'm not defending Wuyan, but none of the former managers said it was tough. That's because Wuyan is crafty. If you don't believe me, try being his manager for a day. You'll see how he wears people down. Having spent a week trailing Wuyan, CHA was once again struck by Wuyan's nasty temperament. He felt sorry for Inseop, who was working hard without knowing anything. Of course, he also hoped Inseop wouldn't quit. Anyway, make sure you take care of Inseop. It's hard to find good people, and there's already talk about how often Wuyan's managers change. Oh no. I won't let Inseop go. Don't worry. I've got plans. What plans? You'll see. Leaving Kim with his cryptic smile, CHA clicked his tongue and left the office. What are you eating? Inseop, who was sipping herbal medicine in the car, was startled and turned his head. Woo-Yun, having finished his shoot, was tapping on the car window with his finger. Sorry about that. I was eating in the car. Inseop hastily put down the herbal medicine and rolled down the window. What are you eating? Herbal medicine. Do you always take that? It was a gift from manager CHA today. As he spoke, Inseop felt a lump in his throat, thinking he didn't deserve such kindness. He wandered around the office for a while, holding the precious herbal medicine, feeling both grateful and guilty. He couldn't bring himself to return it, fearing it would seem rude, and consuming it made him feel unworthy. But he also couldn't just throw away such a valuable gift. After 30 minutes of indecision outside the office, Inseop decided to accept the herbal medicine as a gift and vowed to repay manager CHA someday. He even wrote in his notebook with a bright red pen that he must repay the manager 3 times. Manager CHA. Yes. Woo-Yun opened the passenger door and got in next to him. Since the usual van was having issues, they were using a car borrowed from the office. However, Inseop was taken aback when Woo-Yun casually sat in the passenger seat. He anxiously watched Woo-Yun move the herbal medicine box to the back seat. What's wrong? Feeling Woo-Yun's gaze, Inseop quickly answered, aren't you going to sit in the back? It's fine. Unable to say that he wasn't fine, Inseop resumed sipping the herbal medicine. Watching his cheeks move as he drank, Woo-Yun laughed. You're drinking it well. Yes, because it was given to me. I don't handle black goat or soft-shelled turtle well. Other herbs are fine. What? Inseop widened his eyes, wondering if he had misheard. Was Woo-Yun really referring to black goat and soft-shelled turtle as he knew them? They don't agree with me. Well, I've rarely needed herbal medicine anyway. No, I mean, what did you say doesn't agree with you? Black goat and soft-shelled turtle. Inseop looked at the packet of herbal medicine in his hand. On it was a cartoonish drawing of a black goat and a soft-shelled turtle arm in arm against a blazing sun. The dark brown liquid he had been drinking dripped from his mouth. Feeling the warm liquid spread down his neck, Inseop quickly pulled out a handkerchief and wiped his mouth. Sorry. Fortunately, the car seat was unscathed. Inseop continued to apologize to Woo-Yun, who was smiling. So, what did you think you were drinking? Medicine. You didn't think about the ingredients. Since it was herbal medicine, Inseop had vaguely thought it contained mysterious, beneficial Eastern ingredients without giving it much thought. Black goat is good for your health. Imagining the black goat, Inseop covered his mouth and grimaced. Woo-Yun's eyes softened further. If manager CHA prepared it, he probably included a whole black goat and a soft-shelled turtle. Isn't it fascinating? That a whole black goat can become this liquid. The more Woo-Yun spoke, the more distorted Inseop's expression became. Woo-Yun continued as if he didn't notice. And the soft-shelled turtle, too. It must be great for stamina. Make sure to drink it all. Holding the half-finished packet, Inseop looked as if he were about to take poison. When Woo-Yun gestured for him to finish it, Inseop's eyes filled with tears. Just the black goat was overwhelming, but a soft-shelled turtle too. He couldn't bring himself to throw away the expensive herbal medicine in front of Woo-Yun. You can do this. You've handled worse. What's a black goat and a soft-shelled turtle? Inseop closed his eyes tightly and drank the rest of the herbal medicine in one gulp. It felt like the black goat and soft-shelled turtle were dancing in his mouth, but he thought of Jenny and swallowed it down. Feeling nauseous and on the verge of vomiting, Inseop tried to keep his composure and started the car. Having Woo-Yun sitting next to him was already nerve-wracking, and now he felt the taste lingering in his mouth, making even breathing cautious. 3 times a day. 30 minutes before meals. Woo-Yun read the instructions on the packet aloud, making Inseop flinch. Make sure to take it. Health is important. Yes. Thank you. In a gloomy voice, Inseop responded, though he didn't feel thankful at all. Woo-Yun wondered if Inseop could really finish the entire box of herbal medicine when he made such a fuss over one packet. The idea of checking in after each meal cheered Woo-Yun up. As he turned the steering wheel, Inseop kept glancing at Woo-Yun sitting beside him. Woo-Yun, as usual, was reading a script with his head leaning against the window. That's dangerous. What? It's dangerous if you keep glancing at me instead of focusing on the road. Sorry. Woo-Yun turned a page in the script, which was filled with notes he had written. Kim often remarked on Woo-Yun's unexpected diligence, but for Woo-Yun, it was necessary work. To perform well, he needed to understand the emotions between characters, which was harder for him than others. Knowing the basics of why people get angry or happy is different from acting it out. When the traffic light turned red, Inseop glanced at Woo-Yun's profile as he read the script. Do you like it that much? What? Is it that exciting to have your idol sitting next to you? You're staring quite a bit. Woo-Yun closed the script. His tone made it hard to tell if he was joking or serious. Inseop tightened his grip on the steering wheel. Don't make it obvious. Act naturally. It's fascinating. Fascinating. Yes. Watching someone I used to admire from afar up close. It wasn't a lie. Inseop had always watched Woo-Yun from a distance, thinking he belonged to a different world. He never imagined they would have conversations within arm's reach. Back then. Peter. Jenny burst into the room, excited. Peter closed his notebook. What is it? What were you writing? Nothing important. Knowing Peter's habit of jotting down unnecessary things in his notebook, Jenny didn't ask further and started talking. Want to go see the prince? What? The prince? Yes, there's a practice game today. Let's go watch. Now? Right now. Peter frowned, feeling troubled. His hair was unkempt and he had work to finish by tomorrow. Since he couldn't attend school regularly, Peter always assigned himself homework and had his mother check it. Why? You just need to change your clothes and go. My hair. It's fine. It's cute. Jenny pushed Peter, urging him to change his clothes quickly. Reluctantly, Peter washed his face and changed. Jenny's cheeks were flushed with excitement. Her face turned red easily, almost to the point of being a condition. Her classmates teased her, calling her a dumb pig, but Jenny pretended not to care. Peter felt sorry for her and always told her that her face looked like a rosy hue. She would smile brightly at that. Peter loved her smile. With a face even redder than usual, Jenny dragged Peter along. The hot weather made her sweat profusely, and Peter also began to struggle with his breathing. Wait, hold on. We are almost there. Hurry. If we don't get there soon, there won't be any good spots left. There are always swarms of fans around the prince on game days. Let's just take a moment to rest. Even though he took deep breaths, his lungs felt like they were tearing apart, and his heart pounded painfully. Jenny kept insisting they had to secure a good spot. Hurry, Peter, hurry. Oh. Jenny stopped mid-sentence, her mouth agape. Peter realized her gaze was fixed on something behind him and turned around. A group of guys walked past them. Peter immediately knew who the prince was that Jenny always talked about. Among the Westerners, a man with broad shoulders stood out. The quarterback's shoulders. The man with the shoulders Jenny always talked about walked across the street. He had black hair and eyes like Peter but gave off a completely different vibe. When the man passed by, Peter couldn't help but stare at his back. He compared himself to the man in every aspect. Or rather, he realized there was no comparison. They belonged to different worlds. To Peter, the prince was not a figure from his reality. It's green. The light turned green. Oh, sorry. Snapping out of his thoughts, Inseop quickly pressed the accelerator. It's strange. What do you mean? You usually seem so calm and meticulous, but sometimes you're quite clumsy. I wonder which is the real you. His stomach churned. The black goat he drank earlier now seemed to be dancing in his belly. Trying to maintain his composure, Insiep replied, "Is that so?" "Yeah. Everyone has a hidden side to them." "Yes." Caught at another red light, Insiep thought it might be better to just focus on driving. Although he had driven Wuyun many times before, this was the first time he sat beside him. It made him nervous. Extremely nervous. He had no idea what Wuyun might say next, and his hands were sweaty on the steering wheel. For some reason, Wuyun closed his script and leaned back, watching Insiep. Feeling pressured to start a conversation, Insiep began to talk about work. "Today, you have 2 magazine interviews scheduled. There's also a movie premiere and a late-night appearance on an entertainment show." "Oh no." There was nothing more to say. Wuyun seemed to enjoy watching his manager struggle to find topics. "I've organized all the interview materials in a file." "Thanks. I'll take a look." "I've also prepared the outfit for the premiere." "Thank you." It was impossible to continue. If it wasn't about work, Insiep couldn't hold a conversation with Wuyun. He gripped the steering wheel and stared straight ahead. The sensation of Wuyun's gaze on his cheek was driving him mad. He was supposed to be the one observing, but today, their roles were reversed. Insiep's lips were dry, and he licked them repeatedly. "Turn left." "Yes?" "You should have turned left here." "Oh, I'm sorry." Insiep missed the timing for the lane change because he was too focused on Wuyun sitting next to him. "You can't make a U-turn ahead, so you'll have to take a T-turn at the next light. We have plenty of time, so don't worry too much about it." Many celebrities would lash out at their manager for missing a turn, but Wuyun's attitude was remarkably understanding. However, the problem wasn't Wuyun's demeanor. "Is there something on my face?" Unable to bear the constant gaze, Insiep finally asked after enduring Wuyun's stare for the past 10 minutes. "No." Insiep wanted to ask why he was staring so intently but kept his mouth shut, afraid it would make him seem overly self-conscious. "Where will you be during the interview?" "I'll be in the car." "Don't stay in the car. Sit with me." "Why are you doing this to me today?" Swallowing his words, Insiep slowly turned the wheel. "I think the interview will be long today. You'll get tired if you just stay in the car." "Yes. I'll stay nearby then." Insiep had long given up on gathering any useful information about Wuyun from interviews. Although Wuyun gave favorable interviews, they weren't particularly interesting. Observing from the side, Insiep concluded that sleeping in the car would be a better use of time. The reporters scheduled for today were known for their politeness, not for their ability to provoke revealing answers. A long, dull interview was expected. Insiep sighed. "What's wrong?" "What?" "You just sighed. Are you worried about something?" "No, nothing." His only worry was that time was passing without him finding any dirt on Wuyun. A month had already flown by. "If there's anything I can help with, let me know. What I want is to see your dirty true nature. But even if I asked for it, you wouldn't show it." "Thank you for saying that." With his stiff reply, Wuyun leaned back and smiled. Though Insiep tried to appear impassive, Wuyun could feel his tension radiating off him. It felt like watching a young knight in a stiff armor, trembling. What kind of face would he make if that armor was stripped away? While pondering such thoughts, Wuyun continued to observe Insiep's profile as he drove. "We are here." Insiep parked the car. "I'll go ahead." "Park the car and come up." "Yes, understood." Insiep dropped Wuyun off and headed to the parking lot. Parking the smaller car was much easier than the usual van. As he got out of the car, someone grabbed his shoulder. "Excuse me." "Yes?" "Oppa, Wuyun is having an interview here today, right?" "Yes, that's correct." There were always fans following their favorite stars around, and part of a manager's job was to manage them. However, some fans were particularly hard to control. Inseop recognized the woman as the fan who had once spilled coffee on him. Even Woo-yeon, who rarely showed displeasure, turned away whenever she appeared. She didn't relent, though, and kept showing up at unofficial interview sites and filming locations. "Could you give this to him?" She handed over an envelope. Inseop hesitated. Woo-yeon had a strict policy against accepting gifts from fans. "It's just a letter." The woman smiled, seeming to understand his hesitation. "Well, a letter should be fine." "All right." Inseop took the letter and tucked it into his pocket. He bowed to the woman and left the parking lot. Entering the French restaurant on the second floor, he saw Woo-yeon waving him over. After bowing to the reporter, Inseop sat at the adjacent table. The interview continued with boring discussions about Woo-yeon's upcoming drama and his acting philosophy. Inseop opened a book he had brought, preferring to read or nap during his downtime. Someday, when he kept his promise to Jenny, he could indulge in writing, traveling, taking photos, reading, and daydreaming without guilt. Would such a day ever come, free from guilt? "I'll be back in a moment." Woo-yeon excused himself to the reporter and left. Inseop watched his retreating figure before returning to his book. "What are you reading? Is it a novel?" Bored from waiting, the reporter struck up a conversation with Inseop. He quietly lifted his book to show the title. "This book will save your life." "Is it about life-saving techniques?" "It's a novel." "Is it interesting?" "Yes, so far." "Oh, I'm sorry for the late introduction. I'm Yoon Ah-reum from Monthly Blue." "I'm Choi Inseop, Woo-yeon's manager." The reporter, with her neatly tied back hair, handed Inseop her business card. With no business card to give in return, Inseop wrote his name and phone number on the corner of his book and handed it to her. "Sorry, I haven't made business cards yet. And I never will." The reporter, Yoon Ah-reum, looked surprised but then laughed. "All right. I'll make good use of it." "What?" "Oh, sure." Feeling he might have made another mistake, Inseop didn't have time to ponder it. Woo-yeon had returned from the restroom. "Were you two having a fun conversation?" Naturally, Inseop planned to deny it, but Yoon Ah-reum spoke first. "Your manager gave me his phone number." "What?" "He didn't have a business card, so he gave me his number instead." Yoon Ah-reum waved the paper with Inseop's name and number. Woo-yeon looked at Inseop with a slightly stiff expression. Although Inseop waved his hands in denial, the paper with his name and number was evidence enough. "I mean, I didn't have a business card, so I'm sorry if it caused any misunderstanding. Let's talk about it later." "It's fine." Woo-yeon interrupted Inseop's explanation. He wanted to clarify further, but couldn't interrupt the ongoing interview. As the two resumed their conversation, Inseop reopened his book, but the words didn't register. After 2 hours, he had barely turned 30 pages. "Thank you for the interview." "Thank you. It was a pleasure." Seeing Woo-yeon shake hands with the reporter, Inseop stood up. "I'll head out first." "Yes. I'll be rooting for your drama, Woo-yeon." "Thank you. Goodbye." Inseop also bowed to the reporter. Yoon Ah-reum smiled and waved. "By the way, can I really call this number?" "Oh, if it's for work, it's fine." "I was just kidding. See you next time." "Yes, see you." As they left the restaurant and entered the elevator, Woo-yeon remained silent until they were alone. "Is she your type?" "What?" "Your ideal type." "Oh no, it's not like that. I just didn't have a business card. I'm sorry if it caused any misunderstanding." Inseop stumbled over his words as he apologized, and Woo-yeon gave a knowing smile. "There's no need for an apology. It's normal to give your contact if you're interested." "It's not like that." "Really?" The elevator door dinged open. Even as they walked to the car, Inseop wore a frustrated expression. He wasn't usually one to explain himself, but this time he felt an overwhelming need to clarify. As Woo unfastened his seatbelt, he asked, "So, what is your ideal type?" Caught off guard, Inseop turned to him with a puzzled expression, as if he had misheard. "You must have an ideal type. Do you like women who are neat and feminine, like you, Narian?" Inseop quickly closed the car door and fastened his seatbelt. "I'm starting the car," he muttered and turned on the ignition. Woo pressed on with his questions. "Don't you have an ideal type? Is there anyone who doesn't? Why is he doing this? Why is he treating me like this today?" If he could, Inseop wanted to shout at him to stop, but he knew it would only get him fired. "Yes, I have an ideal type." "What is it?" "A kind person." "And that's all?" Woo chuckled at Inseop's firm answer. "Just kindness." "Yes. Simple enough." Inseop shook his head after pondering Woo statement. "Kindness is harder to find than you think." "Really?" Woo thought Inseop misunderstood his statement. He was amazed that someone like him still existed, who valued simple kindness. "Have you ever been in love with a kind person?" Inseop's eyes wavered as he reversed the car. Woo, ignoring his discomfort, pressed on. "Was your first love a kind person?" Inseop bit his lip. Woo was curious about the frantic thoughts swirling in his mind. What kind of person were they? Inseop's expression darkened. If he pushed a little more, he seemed on the verge of tears. His first love must have ended tragically. Poor guy. Hiding his twisted thoughts, Woo asked gently. "What kind of person were they?" Inseop's head throbbed from Woo's relentless questions. Desperate to stop the interrogation, he felt a sudden urge to answer anything. "Whatever happens, happens." "A bad person." Inseop's voice was filled with a sigh as he answered. "A bad person. Your first love was a bad person." "Oh, you did have a first love. Sorry if I seemed like I was teasing. It's just that you don't seem like the type." Regretting his words, Inseop clamped his mouth shut. He bit his lip hard and dug into his pocket, handing Woo a pink envelope. "What's this?" "A fan gave it to me." Recognizing Inseop's attempt to change the subject, Woo almost laughed out loud. Such a transparent move. "It's not a gift, so I accepted it, but..." Inseop screamed and widened his eyes. The car screeched to a halt as a woman suddenly appeared, approaching the passenger window with a slow smile. She tapped the glass. As soon as Woo saw her face, his expression hardened. "I love you, Oppa." The woman's eerie declaration echoed as she walked away. The situation could have caused an accident. Woo felt a surge of anger towards the woman who persisted like a cockroach. If he had been driving, he might have pretended it was a mistake and floored the accelerator. Running his hand through his hair, Woo turned to Inseop. "Were you scared? That woman, what happened to your hand?" "Huh? Oh, what?" Seeing the blood on his hand, Inseop realized he was injured. He quickly fumbled for a handkerchief to wrap around the wound. Woo silently took the letter from Inseop's hand and tore open the blood-stained envelope. Inside, as expected, were multiple razor blades. "This?" Woo bit his lip to suppress a curse. He threw the envelope out of the window and grabbed Inseop's hand. "Is it bad?" "No, it's fine." "You're bleeding a lot." "It's okay. I'll call Manager CHA." "Don't." Inseop urgently grabbed Woo's hand. "Please, don't call Manager CHA. Don't tell the CEO. I don't want to cause any more trouble." He looked as if it would be catastrophic if they found out. Woo wondered if Inseop had caused a huge problem for them before. Inseop was that desperate. "I can drive. The bleeding will stop soon." "Really? Look, it's not even that bad." Unwrapping the handkerchief, Inseop turned pale at the sight of the exposed flesh. Ugh. He quickly covered his mouth to stifle a retch. Wu Yun rewrapped the wound with the handkerchief. It doesn't seem too deep, but we should still go to the hospital. Yes. I won't tell the manager or the CEO about your injury. Thank you. But you have to do me a favor in return. As he cleaned the blood off Inseop's face with a handkerchief, Wu Yun's kind demeanor made Inseop's skin crawl. You'll do me this favor, right? His gentle voice cut into Inseop's ear like a knife.